You're listening to the Wealth Mindset Show, where Hicks and Zerker Capital Management's team of finance professionals, portfolio managers, and a life coach come together to tackle complex topics in finance and retirement planning so you don't have to. From investment strategies and wealth management to tax planning, retirement income, and aligning your money with your values and purpose, the Wealth Mindset Show offers the tools to thrive.
All right. Hey. Welcome back to the Wealth Mindset Show, where the Hicks and Zerker team helps you manage wealth, navigate retirement, and make smart decisions for a secure, meaningful future. I'm Austin Wilson, Director of Investments at Hicks and Zerker Capital Management.
I'm Josh Robb, Director of Wealth Management at Hicks and Zerker Capital Management. And today we have Jessica Hinks joining us. She's one of our financial advisors here, and she had written a blog talking about kids' money, all that stuff, and what do we do with it? Mm-hmm. So we thought we'd talk about that today.
Yeah,
but
I'm
first,
excited.
Yes. What's going on with your real kids?
Kids.
I mean, there's money, and we're going to talk about money, but what's going on?
I was actually really excited that we were doing a holiday-related blog because I'm just looking for reasons to get into the holidays. Right. We went to Menards a couple of weeks ago and went into the Christmas section, and it was stunning. Yes. They had these animatronics, little elves, feet sticking out of trees. They had a sled that went around a tree, and the sled just went down, came around, and went up a ladder. It just goes on repeat. My kids watched it for like 10 minutes. I cried in the Menards Christmas area because it was just so beautiful.
Did you get it?
We're going today.
Okay, good. I think I was at Menards before Halloween, and they already had Christmas stuff up, and I was like, my goodness.
Yeah.
I always thought it was cool having a tree where you had a train go around it. Mm-hmm. And we haven't had that, but I always thought that is a cool idea. And the thing is, for us, is either a kid or an animal would destroy that. So if you've yet to have the opportunity to just, they chase that train and kill it because it was, a danger to our family.
Well, we just put up our tree.
Oh, boy.
So this is a whole different thing. So
this is pre-Thanksgiving from our recording.
Honey, if you're listening, this is the story. I'm going to tell the story. But it was like, it's pre-Thanksgiving. It's the beginning of November. And my wife says, hey, honey, I'd like to get the tree out. I think it'd be fun to have it out a little longer now that our youngest one's 1 now. And she might get to enjoy it this year. Obviously, last year she was teeny. Mm-hmm. So we did. We got the tree out. And last year we had a pre-lit tree. And the pre-lit tree had parts of it die, which happens with all pre-lit trees. So we pitched it. Got a new pre-lit tree from a garage sale, $20. At the garage sale, it was set up and working perfectly.
Yep.
So my wife gets it home and she's so excited. $20 Christmas tree. Yeah. And I told her, I don't think anyone sells a pre-lit tree that actually works. And the fact of the matter is, this tree does not light up all the way.
But it was it.
But it did. Apparently, it did.
If you hold the wire just right, or
maybe.
something.
Or you turn it just right. If you're in a corner, you can hide.
Well, we both took attempts at taking it apart and reconnecting every single connection, and both came to the same conclusion. So we were supplemented with fake lights, but we have no bulbs this year at all because they'll fall off with our littlest one. And the only we have one ornament for each of them that's 6 feet in the air, so they can't get them. So it's up. It's happening. Wilsons have started Christmas a little bit early.
There you go. That's all right.
So speaking of Christmas,
Christmas
money happens a lot. You get gifted some money for your kids. This happens for birthdays too. It happens for every holiday. Mm-hmm. The question is, what happens when a kid gets cash as a gift? Because there's a couple ways we can approach this, but do you let them spend it? Do you make them save it? Do you put them towards something in the future? Again, Josh mentioned this is actually tying back to a blog that Jess wrote. We're going to link that in the show notes. But what do we do? How do we view that? So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and my youngest son, he just turned 11 in October. And for his birthday party with some friends and stuff, he started getting more of that type of stuff because after a certain while, it's they have a lot of things. And so, I was talking to actually one of the moms, and she's like, I'm thinking of just getting him a little gift card or something so he can go to Amazon and buy what he wants. And then they also included his favorite snack, which I thought was a cool, good gift. So he's accumulated this bit. And then I'm at the first, for him, it's what do we do with this? And that's what you're talking about.
That's what we're talking about today. First and foremost, I think if people give your kids money, and my kids are so small, 2 and 5, that I really have to be the steward of this cash for
Yep.
them. First things first, I like to ask the giver what they envisioned us doing with it. Like, hey, thank you so much for giving us this money. Did you have something in mind that you wanted
Yes.
little Allie or little Sam? And sometimes they'll be like, oh, I was hoping they could just go pick out their own toy. Or maybe they'll just say, you know what, you can use it for whatever you want. And if they don't have a need, that's when it's time for you to figure out what's best, right?
Yep.
I think one thing to think about is why cash is given.
Mhm.
There's a couple reasons. So I think one reason is just practically, especially as people get a little older, they have less desire or less ability to go out and find the perfect gift for every little kid. So they may say it's easier to give cash. Another one might be, well, they don't really know exactly what exact toy that kid's going to want all the time, or what clothes size they are or whatever. So it's easier to give cash, and that's one thing that's totally popular. But yeah, that's definitely an interesting approach to ask that. I think I've probably our kids get cash as gifts all the time, and so the people who give it already know what my answer is going to be. They're like, Austin, what are we going to do with the money? And I'm like, it's probably going to. They're like, it's probably going to be invested before they even know it. So that's what happens in our house. But it's super interesting that. Just the different phases of life. Because I think grandparents, like their direct grandparents or people who see them like all the time, probably give them a gift because they know exactly what they like, they know what they're into. But the further you get out of the bubble is oftentimes a little bit where it's just like, I'll just give them $25 or whatever.
Yeah. And you mentioned too, when they're younger, sometimes you're the one making that decision on what to buy. And I remember that, especially when our kids got cash when they were real young. It was like, okay, here's the things we know they want or need that we need to get, and we'll use that money for it. So, here's the toys we know they're going to play with, or here's this thing that we've been wanting or thinking they want. Now we can get it for them. But as they can make their own decisions, and this is where I'm curious for you, because you're in that phase now, is when you take them to the store, let's say someone says, I'd love for them to pick out their own gift. How much leeway do you give them if they're going to pick out something that you know is just not ideal? Either it's going to be too loud, or it's going to break right away, or those type of things. Do you let them do it, or do you kind of help encourage them towards something else?
I've only gone into a toy store and given them just like, hey, go pick something, maybe like twice. And they've been for rewards, and my kids are pretty predictable. I kind of know what they're going to go for. I can think of one time I guided Allie gently towards another item. But it's not something I've had to face. Now, garage sales, I've set them loose. Like, hey, pick out whatever you want.
It's probably $5 at worst.
Yeah. But no, I've not. So I think it's all about helping them either pick a gift for themselves, maybe give it to someone in need, which kids love giving. Something about their pure little hearts, like they love it. Or save it for the future. And you can involve them in the process of saving it for the future.
I think teaching delayed gratification is hard because kids can't put their mind they don't know what a $20 bill is anyway. So like, what does this $20 represent? They know what a toy represents when they see it and when they open it. So having to teach that, well, if we hold on to this and we collect more of these, we'll be able to get something really cool is something that's very useful. And
I know too, remind me, a lot of Walmart or toy stores, the more expensive things are near the bottom. I don't know if you ever have.
Ooh, that's marketing. Yeah.
Well, and so like I remember there's a couple times where my kids were in the store and they had a certain amount of money. Either it was because they had money to buy, or they were helping pick out a gift, which is another fun thing to do. And they would say, "Can I get that?" And I remember, I think it was Malachi, my 11-year-old, and this is when he was younger, but he said, pretty much asked me the question, how high do I need to look to know what things I can pick out? Because he had figured out these things at eye level you keep saying no about, but you keep pointing to the things that are here. So he kind of was like, okay, I got to look up there to get in the range of whatever we're talking about. So, but yeah, that's the thing is helping them understand is like, okay, $20 gets you this, but not those things over
4
there.
aisles up, buddy.
Yeah.
Let me pick you up to get you into there.
Another thing that's tricky is just, of course, when we're opening gifts with our children, we're always like, okay, well, tell grandma thank you, right? That's easy with the toy. It's different when they just see a thing of cash or whatever. So understanding that that's as much of a gift as a regular toy is something that I think is unique.
There's no bigger anxiety than watching your kid open gifts around his friends and hoping he doesn't say anything embarrassing. That's to
or
me,
grandparent.
or anybody in general.
Yeah,
Yes. It's like, just say thank you, even if we haven't. We actually have this talk beforehand. It's like going into Christmas or a birthday party. If you open something and we already have it, say thank you. We'll take care of it later. But they don't need to know that because they did the gift giving.
Right.
They don't know everything you have.
Thank you, I love it is the only thing.
That's exactly
all you have to say.
acceptable.
We'll take care of the rest. Yep. And, that happened recently where I opened it, we had it, and I was just waiting to see it. Thankfully, they go, thank you, and then went on. And I said, that's all.
Yeah.
And we'll take care of it on the back end.
I would just want to go on record, if anyone's listening in my family, cash is the best gift.
Yes.
It takes up the least space and has the most uses.
There you go.
And my dad always said that green goes with everything. So
I like that. That is that I could see your dad saying that. Yes.
Yep. So that's my standpoint there. I just feel like, toys they kind of lose interest in at a day or two probably, but planning ahead can be a useful gift.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about 5 ways to use your kids' gift money from whatever holiday, birthday, Christmas, whatever they're getting us from. And we're going to start with the most basic one, right? Go to a bank.
And this is outside of
buying.
future.
This is outside of buying gifts for your kid or whatever.
Yes.
This is like financial things you can do with cash, right? Number 1, go to a local bank and open a savings account. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So that's simplest terms in that you go to your bank, wherever you bank, and say, I'd like to open up an account for my child. And most banks will do that. They have kid accounts set up for that, and it'll probably be housed under yours.
Yep.
Real easy. But the point is that you teach them the idea of safely putting your money somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the simplest in that they can drive by it when you're in town. Oh, that's where my money is. Yep, that's where your money is, right? And they can associate a bank with saving or holding on to their money.
Yeah.
Now, they don't pay a lot of interest.
Yeah.
Banks are banks. And so this won't necessarily teach them on the growth and compounding.
Correct.
But it teaches them access and that what you're doing is being prudent and putting it in a spot for future.
So that actually brings a funny story up. So Easter eggs sometimes have money in them, right? That's a thing. We went to, we had an Easter at my parents'. We did an Easter egg hunt with all the kids. And Whitley, she's almost 3, 2-year-old. She was just 2 at the time, running around picking up all these eggs. Now, Mimi, she's like a grandma to us. She stacked these eggs with she had a bucket of coins from years of collecting or whatever. And these were full. So we had dollars and dollars and dollars of coins in a bag. So we took this and I took Whitley to the bank on Saturday morning and I said, okay, I'm going to deposit your money. First of all, I didn't realize the Chase Bank here in Findlay, Ohio, the one that is next to our building, does not have an automatic coin counter.
No, those are so fun for kids.
Yeah, so they had to manually count all this. But now every time we go past a place, even that looks like Chase Bank building, which all my daughter thinks of is the alley we walk through to get here. So every time we drive by an alley, she's like, "That's where my money is."
Oh, that
you
could
store your money in.
I'm
alleys.
like, that's not. I don't know if that's what I was going for, but it is what they remember.
Dark
They're like,
alley.
"Oh,
It's
bank,
dark
yeah,
alley.
it's always a dark alley." So yeah, no, that's a great option. It's probably the safest option. It's more practical in the long term than storing it under your mattress, or as I used to do when I had a bank account, but when I had cash, I would put it in the cassette deck of my stereo in my bedroom.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're bringing that up because I want to put physical possession of cash under the same category.
Yes, yeah.
Bank or physical
let your kids have
Have
little
some cash.
cash accounts.
Yeah.
I had a little yellow safe. I've talked about this a lot. Who knew this little yellow safe was such a formative part of my life?
There it is.
But I had immense pride in saving my cash and counting it and recounting it and planning how I was going to use it. And I want to give my kids the same opportunity.
Yep, a couple of my kids have a little safe that you put in a little code and then it unlocks and opens. They think that's fun.
Yeah.
One of my kids, I won't name him, keeps changing it because he thinks his siblings know his code and then he forgets it. So we always have to reset that one to get into it. But that's a fun thing. You're right, because they have it, but they're storing it. But they can access it when they need it.
Yep.
And, there's times where at our church where there's a giving or something our kids do a couple times a year, they'll run to their room and open that up because they're like, oh, I get to participate with my money, right? Instead of asking mom and dad for some, it's, oh, I have some to participate, which is fun to watch.
I love that.
Hey there, we're going to take a quick pause in this episode. Before we get back to today's topic, I want to take a quick moment to share something that could really help you on your retirement journey. At Hickson Zerker Capital Management, we are all about making sure your financial life aligns with what truly matters to you. That's why we created the assessment, Are You Retirement Ready? Over at hzcapital.com/quiz. It's a quick and easy quiz that helps you figure out how prepared you are for retirement. It only takes a few minutes, and you might discover some great insights into what you need to do before you retire, both in the financial and non-financial aspects. So if you're curious about how ready you are to embrace this new phase, head on over to the website and check it out. Again, that's hzcapital.com/quiz. Now let's jump back into our conversation. So let's take a step further out in the time horizon curve, potentially, and talk about a 529 college savings plan. It's not just college, by the way. That's more expanded now than it ever has been.
The 529 is just an account type that has the ability to grow without paying tax as long as you use it for certain expenses down the road, mainly for some sort of higher education or education training, those type of things for heading into your career. And so the nice thing about this is it grows without incurring tax. And that's beautiful in that you can compound and grow that money. And then when you withdraw it, as long as you use it for the right things, and we have a whole podcast on that, you can then not pay tax on the withdrawal.
And let's talk practically.
Yes.
How do you get money in a 529? You can link your own bank account, and if Aunt Sue gives you $500, you can just put it in your own bank account and then transfer $500 to the 529.
Yes.
Awesome. You get the state tax deduction. Good for you. Alternatively, you can go log into collegeadvantage.com if you're in Ohio, whatever plan you use. And there are directions on how other people can make checks payable. So that way they can get the state tax deduction and you don't have to be the middleman. They can just send a check straight in. So if you know in advance someone might want to do that, you can always provide those instructions to them.
Yes. So another further step down the investing timeline might be investing for something like retirement, huh? So you could consider opening a Roth IRA, caveat being for people who are working, particularly teenagers, right? You got to have income.
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so a Roth IRA or even a traditional IRA, the rule for them is you have to have earned income in order to put money into that type of account. And so IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. And so in order to do that, you have to have income. As long as you have income, it doesn't matter who's making that contribution.
Right.
But the owner of that account, the kid in this instance, has to have their own earned income to qualify for that.
And you can only invest up to that.
Yeah, there's limits. There's a max amount or how much you earn, whichever one's less.
Exactly.
But it is a nice account because, again, you get tax-free growth. And this
Absolutely.
one goes beyond the 529 in that the uses are unlimited once you're in that retirement period. 59 and a half or older, you can actually take withdrawals tax-free from these accounts.
So again, practically, you can go to fidelity.com, whatever custodian you like with your teen, open up a minor IRA with them. It's all under their name. Then you can help them get the cash in it. And that is not hard.
Absolutely. And the compounding benefits of starting as a teenager, if you have the ability or desire to, are amazing. And Josh and I have spent countless hours talking about starting earlier being more important. Well, imagine if I would have started as a teenager. Oh my goodness. The sky's the limit on that one. All right, another one with perhaps even more flexibility on the investment landscape is just a brokerage account, a simple investment account in your name as the parent or the guardian or whatever, but it's kind of earmarked for your child, right?
I'll go ahead and jump to the next one, which is a investment account in your kid's name.
Can do that too.
So that's a minor account. So this is for anybody under 18 or whatever the age of majority is in your state. The difference between these two is who owns the account. So an account in the adult's name is yours, and then at some point in the future, you end up just gifting the money to the kid. So you have full control over it the whole way through. You get to make the decision how much goes in, what you take out, how it's invested, all that stuff. All the access to it, yes. And then at any time you want to give it to that kid, you're in a sense gifting to the kid from your assets to them. And there's limitations to how much you can give per year, all that stuff, but there's no time limit. Whereas if the kid's the owner, while they're a minor, you still have a custodian or usually a parent guardian to oversee that account. But at a certain age, it reverts to the kid and they become the full owner of it. So the only difference is how long the parent has control over that account.
And if you're going to open up an investment account in your own name and just earmark it for your child, make sure you truly earmark it and keep it straight. Because it's so easy to be like, oh, we say this money was all given to little Joe, and then 20 years later, you kind of forget that was for little Joe. Wouldn't that be horrible if you ended up using it for yourself? Like, that is not anybody's want or intent. So that's, I guess, the one pro of doing the UTMA account, because it's actually in the minor's name.
You have to use it for their benefit.
Correct.
Yeah, it might make the gift givers feel a little bit better if it's in the child.
And it is, if you do have a brokerage account for your child in your name, which I do currently for all three of my children, it is not difficult within your custodian panel or whatever to write a name, to have a custom name or whatever. And you can say, this is Juliana's account, even though it's technically yours. At least you go in there and you're like, oh my goodness, I see that's Juliana.
Now, we're not going to get deep into this, but the bonus number 6 is there's a new account called a Trump account.
The Trump account,
which
we don't know much about.
There's not. The only caveat to that one is when you go back to those Roth IRAs and traditional IRAs, you have to have earned income. This new account, you don't need earned income for the minor in order to contribute for them in this type of account. And it's designed to be growing for investment, for retirement long term. So there's a lot of new things we need to learn about that one because the IRS hasn't really said how it works, but the big key is earned income versus not earned income.
Correct.
Yeah, watch the news though, because babies born this year or the next two get that free $1,000
seeding.
Yeah, there's a gift right there.
Seeding the
That's
account.
you. Keep an eye out.
Well, think about the compounding effect of. So I always think $1,000 in 30 years is essentially multiplied 10x, right? That's how the long-term average of the market kind of works, right? So that $1,000 at birth, by the time they're 30, is already $10,000 probably. That's just assuming constant growth, right? Of course, it won't actually be that, but that's all. You're by the time you're 30, you didn't do anything, and that money that you were born turned into 10 grand. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So, seeding early, compounding is great. So that is definitely a couple options practically that you guys can use to kind of put that money to work for your children. I guess the point is, talk about money with your kids. Your kids are going to be given money. You may give them money. This is just a great opportunity to explain, first of all, what money's for and how it's used, because your kid doesn't understand how expensive it is to feed them and put clothes on their back. They have no concept of money at this point, which is okay, but this is how you teach them that from a young age. So yeah, any thoughts on how and why this is important to talk about with your kids?
I mean, it gives you a reason to have those conversations, right? When they receive something, you say, hey, here's what I do when I have some money. You talk about whether you give to charity or set aside for saving. You can kind of start educating them with their money and let them do some of those things with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we literally got a bunch of change in their Easter eggs, just like you did. And we went to the bank, to the change counter. We're like, okay, like this is money Nana and Papa gave you, and we're going to use this maybe when you need your first car or something like that. Yeah. And Allie got it. I mean, she was 4, almost 5 at the time, but she understood what was going on. So don't underestimate what your kids can comprehend on this topic.
Absolutely. Yep. So money and kids, they can go hand in hand. Yep. It's good. So yeah, if you found any value in today's episode, hit that subscribe button on your podcast player so you don't miss the next episode. Be sure to follow us on social media. We're pretty active on there, and we'd love to be in touch with you. And if you're ready to invest with us or curious what we do at Hicks & Zerker Capital Management, head to hzcapital.com. Check out all of our resources and everything on there. Otherwise, thanks for listening, and we'll talk soon.
Yep. Talk to you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for joining us at the Wealth Mindset Show, where we tackle the complexities of finance and life planning to help you align your wealth with your values. We hope today's conversation provided value and clarity as you navigate your financial journey. Your hosts work for Hicks & Zerker Capital Management, and all opinions expressed by them or any podcast guest are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Hicks & Zerker Capital Management. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Clients of Hicks & Zerker Capital Management may maintain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast. There is no guarantee that statements, opinions, or forecasts provided herein will prove to be correct. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Indices are not available for direct investment. and any investor attempting to mimic index performance would incur fees and expenses that could reduce returns. Securities investing involves risks, including the potential loss of principal, and there is no assurance that any investment plan or strategy will be successful.